For the love of Pete, we are the only people on the internet not watching the Lindsay Clancy trial right now. JLR claiming that Coyote Bones or Nancy Guthrie, or Ernie fighting with Nicolina. Welcome. Glad you're here. My goodness. There's plenty of internet and plenty of time. Karma Libra. All right, our friend Karma Libra is having a health problem right now. I believe she should be in the hospital with an IV. Not going to go into her condition, but I want everyone to please lift her up in your prayers. Do the best you can. We've been talking a lot in Discord about her health scare, and I tell you what, I think I'm more scared than she is. I see some people are having some issues with their memberships. So if anybody wants to throw some memberships in, that would be great. However, need to say thank you so much to Janica. OJ requested tuna juice per my cat Moochie. So here you go, OJ. You can actually buy tuna juice. Like just straight juice. Is it oil or is it the juice? Thank you so much for that. Because I think we all know that OJ doesn't have shit going for him. True Crime Beat said gross. Well, you're not a cat. True Crime Beat, you're not a cat. So who's got their pink on and who wants a t-shirt? Any takers? Remember, the model does not come with it. And in support of We Wear Pink on Wednesdays, thank you for being here because your support means more to me than you will ever know. Let's take a second and tell everybody good morning. All right, first I'm going to start with a court document. Even though people say, but there's a gag order, Brex. Brex, there's a gag order. Well, it's not a ball gag. It's a gag order, meaning that the judge, defense attorneys, basically anyone legally involved can't talk. Elizabeth can talk. She can. Gary Jr. can talk. Gary Sr. can talk. Christine can talk. The courts are talking because Elizabeth wants to modify her bond in order to get out. You see, she has a fan club. True story, she does. She has a fan club of women that think that she's a victim. I don't know if she is or not. I know that she's charged with some very, very serious crimes. Now comes the state of Ohio by and through the Vinton County Prosecutor's Office and presents its memorandum to defendant's motion to modify the bond. For the reasons expressed below, this court should deny the bond modification. The defendant filed for a bond modification. The court should deny it. You know why? Because the defendant is facing multiple serious pending felony charges. Many. Involving serious physical harm to her own children. She is a flight risk. Also, she has filed for a competency hearing. So if she's crazy, she doesn't need to be out. If somebody is playing the insane card, and maybe they are, maybe they're totally insane, they don't need to be in society. True story, they just don't need to be out. They need to be in a mental institution, or they need to be in a jail that offers such help. How the hell can you say you're incompetent, but you want to modify your bond so you can take your incompetent ass out into society and keep living your life? It doesn't make any sense. All right, so let's see what we have going on here, because a former prosecutor on News Nation was talking to News Daddy and is all fired up about this case. Oh, and there's more.
She's a former trial prosecutor. She actually prosecuted the Turpin case. Kim, it's nice to see you. When you look back at the case, listening to what Jalissa is saying now, do you see missed opportunities to save these kids from their parents sooner?
I don't know. People just can't bust in your house and say, is it clean? All right. Jules would do anything to turn News Daddy straight. I have put the link up. Feel free to grab it, because we have a lot of Ohio proud people in here. Would love to hear from September Angel. Would love to hear from anyone. Actually, I'm just going to say anyone.
Hey, Brian. So nice to see you. Absolutely. I mean, there was many times throughout the 3 different homes that they lived in, from Texas to Marietta and Paris, where neighbors were able to identify red flags that they perceived as the neighbors, behaviors that they thought were strange, but yet no one called anyone. Nobody called police. Nobody called Child Protective Services. No one called the non-emergency, police department phone number. Yet there was a pattern of neighbors recognizing that just something was off in that household.
With these kids in Ohio, we've been covering.
People are always going to compare the case in Ohio to the Turpin family. They are. I really don't care about neighbors not being nosy. I care more about the powers that be, as in the government, not trying to figure out, where are these kids? Why are they not in school? Why are their grandparents at the damn food bank every week? Why does she have 16 children? Why are they in this house? This is not a house big enough for 20 people. That's impossible. You can see, you walk in the front, you're in the living room. Behind it's the dining room. There's a kitchen. There's a bathroom. There's a bedroom. Another bedroom off the kitchen, and another bedroom. That's the one that they talked about that all the kids would stay in. One bathroom, 20 people. So if the government's going to get involved, go balls deep. Like, seriously get involved. And start with something easy. Why are the kids not in school? Talking about the freaking neighbors getting involved. People think this is a cult. How many of you want to get involved with your cult-looking neighbors? I wouldn't.
In this other House of Horrors case there, where there's 16 kids that were found in a house, what advice would you give the prosecutors there? Because you did everything you could, and you befriended the kids, you were in constant contact with them, and then they were re-victimized and you didn't even know about it.
Oh, that was horrible, Brian. The re-victimization, I think, is really probably what shook the world, as well as my former office, the most. The advice that I would give to the prosecutors now handling this Ohio case is that you really do need to be vigilant in overseeing all the different organizations that are now handling these children. It's not just Child Protective Services overseeing, and I'm sure there's local county council. I'm sure they each have lawyers assigned to them that are, helping them through the criminal justice process in dependency court against their parents. There's many organizations that probably have their hands in this case.
The big difference I see, and this only goes off of what I'm reading, and I don't know about you all, I believe everything I read on the internet, is the children in Ohio are nowhere near close to turning on their parents and grandparents. Whereas the Turpin children, they were ready to go. They were ready to go. We know the one escaped, had a cell phone, called 911, and the rest of them, well, some had to get on board. But I mean, they were like, yeah, we're done with this. From what I'm reading, the Ohio kids are not, they're not down with that yet. I can only think of a few reasons why. Janica said, heck, they should have rented a barn with stalls. And Sister Karen is back. She had a great family reunion. I was wondering about that because, you know, family reunions can go one of two ways. You never know. I mean, you know, certain things are going to happen. Someone's going to bring some bad potato salad. Someone's going to bring a Jell-O mold. But other than that, you just don't even know what's going to happen. So I'm glad you had a good one. Family reunions, in my opinion, are fun.
And every single one of them needs to be on hypervigilance, that just because they're the most highly publicized children right now does not mean that they cannot be re-victimized. And really listening to these children if they're making complaints, whether it be to the social worker, to the nurse who's assisting them through healing, whether it's a therapist. I just think everybody in the process needs to have their eyes and ears open, including the prosecutors. You know, these kids quickly became very attached to our office because we had a rule.
Kimberly said, Jell-O mold. Blech, barf. My Aunt Debbie, we called her Little Debbie because she's a tiny little thing, always brought a green Jell-O mold with shredded carrots in it. Every time. Nasty. Zest Kane said, I hope they don't say later it was the kids' responsibility to clean the house. I hope they don't either, but it would be the kids' responsibility to clean up after themselves. Because if I had, now I'm not talking about the babies, but even a 3, 4, 5-year-old, they know how to bend over and pick things up. They do. Look at the ages. You have 20 people in the house. There is no reason for it to look that way. I would be like, okay, so today is vacuum day. Tomorrow we do the one bathroom we all share. Wednesday, we're going to go, excuse me, how gross. Wednesday, Grandma and Grandpa are going to the food bank, and we're going to put all the food up and prepare our meals for the week. There's nothing wrong with asking kids to pick up, but this is not a defense for Elizabeth, Fireball, Gary Sr., or Christine.
That we were going to do meet and greets with the kids every single few weeks, 2 or 3 times. And from that, we were able to build a rapport, and they started reporting things to us. And I think that is how it became really disclosed sooner than it probably would have, because they had these close-knit relationships. And so just really don't look at this case like another file across your desk. Take the time to get to know the kids and get to know the needs, get they're struggling with in their foster homes. And I think that will be very successful for them.
With the Ohio case, and I think this is somewhat similar to the Turpin case, the mom there wants to see the kids and is now claiming she's a victim and was abused by the husband. Do you buy it? I mean, could that be a possibility?
Do I buy it that she wants to see her kids? Sure. Do I buy it that she has some mental health disease that is so significant that will warrant her getting out of custody and rebonding with her children at this point in time? Absolutely not. I think the studies and the psychologists and the therapists who are treating those kids would agree with me that introducing these children after they have just been freed from such a traumatizing situation.
Kimberly, what the hell is going on around here? Kimberly just said she only wants out because she's missing that bone. Oh my. You know Elizabeth's missing the old pogo stick and wondering why she's not pregnant right now. Or if she is, wondering where she's going to put the baby.
Will only re-traumatize them, being forced to rebond with a mother right now who inflicted so much pain and so much suffering on them. I don't believe that that's the proper approach right now.
So the Turpins, they were sentenced to 25 years to life. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And what about the foster parents that re-victimized the kids? What's the state of them right now?
That case, I'm not sure if it ultimately pled or went to trial. I no longer work for the district attorney's office, so I don't handle that case anymore. So I'm not sure where they're at in the litigation process. I do know that the Riverside County District Attorney's Office filed charges against both of the parents, the foster parents in that case, and it was pending criminal charges when I left.
And what about the state? I mean, they were supposed to keep the kids safe. Was there any accountability there in terms of, it seems like they slipped through the cracks.
Buddy Smith said hi from Ohio. Now, Betty, I know that you had a career in social work. So I had some questions I was wondering if I could pick your brain over. Like exactly what, in Ohio, what does Child Protective Services do when they know a child is no longer going to school? Okay, I'll put the link down and maybe she has time to grab it. Because this whole we can't find them and they went to another county doesn't make any sense to me. But however, none of it makes sense to me.
Is keeping an eye on them in the foster care system.
Right. I mean, if you put them in the foster care and they're able to be re-victimized when they're the most highly publicized abused children in America, that's pretty disturbing. I do believe there was a civil lawsuit that took place that held the county accountable a couple of years after the fact, and that has been resolved since.
Well, what you did, Kim, and seeing you and Jalissa together and the relationship you have is just amazing. And you're really a hero with this whole entire thing. So I really appreciate you for coming on and taking the time. And I hope you have a good weekend, Kim.
Horrible. And what the Turpin kids went through, horrible. What the kids in Ohio went through, horrible. Absolutely horrible. I just couldn't imagine living like that. And I couldn't imagine giving birth every year. Okay. I mean, I did it 3 years in a row and I was like, that's enough playtime for me. I'm good. I just couldn't imagine. You've got boxes all over your house from the food bank. You're pooping in them. You're peeing in them. Your floor is bowing. Your floor is breaking down from all the pee-pee. Well, and we also know other things are going on right now. Elizabeth's brother, Joey Russell, is still in jail for a parole violation. And I tell you what, I'm Team Joey. So let's take a second and enjoy music.
If you ever need a shoulder.
Amazing work from Joey and amazing work from Poppy Red Mustang, making it rain in here. Look at that. Who got the membership? Memberships, I must say. Memberships. All right. So the Turpin children are speaking out. This is a younger one who recently bought a house. Very Instagram, TikTok famous, if you know what I mean. And speaks exactly like her sisters. They all have the same voice. Genetics freak me out. However, she is grabbing the branch, grabbing the torch, raising up the banner. And she wants to be there for the children in Ohio. Now, in my opinion, this is extremely impressive because some people could sit in their own piss and shit, waller in the mud and say, don't forget me, I'm a victim. That happened to me too. But when you take personal pain and you turn it around to help others, I think that is amazing. And I think it would be hard to do. I really do. You see groups around, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. You have groups that help women after being assaulted, And so to take something so personal, especially on such a public stage, and you reach out to these children, whoa. And I want to know, speaking of genetics, the Turpin parents are uglier than a bar of Dolly Vision soap. How did they have such beautiful children? Handsome boys, beautiful girls. Then you see Bruce Willis, good-looking dude, Demi Moore, hotter than a firecracker, and their kids are ugly. Okay? Their daughters are ugly. Genetics, my friends.
Almost like this prison where me and my siblings were prisoners, and then I knew that her and my dad were like the head of the prison.
Jalissa's sister Jordan was able to escape in 2018. You can see her in the dark running from the house. She called 911 from a deactivated cell phone.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Everyone's laughing about me talking about Dolly soap. I'm sure it's fine. I just know I got some one time. It was supposed to be some sort of cucumber melon. And I don't know if it got melted in the mail or whatever, but it showed up just looking like a lump of shit. And I'm like, am I supposed to rub this on my body? I don't know. But I certainly wasn't going to complain about it because it was a gift from someone else. And you know who you are. Smelled good. I think I actually wound up put into a candle warmer.
I just ran away from home. I live in a family of 15. Okay? Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Hi, Jordan. Hi, what's going on?
My two little sisters right now chained up.
How old are they?
11 and 14.
And they're chained up?
Yes.
This is the moment sheriff's deputies arrived at the Turpin home. The moment Jalissa was saved.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Okay, Gail, you're exactly right. Anyone that blames these children, whether it's the Turpin children, the Siders family children, or any child, okay, that doesn't escape abuse, I've got a problem with. Because I've seen some comments in some of those Facebook groups going, well, why didn't they just leave? I mean, God, they're on social media. I mean, why didn't they just leave? They probably had no idea how to leave. I mean, you can walk out the door, but where are you going to go? You have no money. You have no transportation. Where are you going to go? It's almost like a Stockholm syndrome. Like you're just so used to the shit that you have no problem smelling it. So they need to leave those kids alone. The Turpin children got it too, especially the older sister. They're like, you're 29 years old and you never thought to get away? Well, not when you see people chained up. That wouldn't be somebody I would be screwing with, would you?
We got a call
Okay, what kind of call did you get?
Well, we got a call that there was a young female walking around saying that she came from a house over here.
Think that she came from here?
That's what she said.
How you doing, sir? I'm doing okay.
Well, we're gonna come in and check, okay?
For me, when I got out, it was a little bit intimidating, but I was so happy. Like I was always on cloud nine because it was like, honestly, just being able to see a tree, just being able to breathe in fresh air, that literally felt like heaven to me. I felt like it can't really get more scary or worse than being in that house.
All right, let's just go.
Oh, Jules. Okay. You said it. No, you said it. I didn't know how to articulate what I wanted to say. When you don't know what help is, you don't know how to get it. And I think some people have had some similar experiences, not to compare yourself to the Turpin children or to the Siders children. We've been in maybe some bad relationships, bad workplaces, stuff like that. This is a totally different thing because they don't know what help is, and they have been programmed that the outside world is evil. You see, they have a cultish mentality, and the kids bought it hook, line, and sinker because they had no choice. Exactly, Danny Dane. Just like when Jordan Turpin said, "What is medicine? What is medicine?" She didn't know.
But and detain the parents.
In Ohio, the rescued children are out of their prison and, like Jalissa, are now able to smell air and see trees. The scary part is their freedom may be short-lived. Their mother, Elizabeth Siders, is claiming she was a victim of her husband, despite some of her children not even learning how to speak or write. Jalissa's mom claimed the same thing. In Ohio, the mom, through the courts, is fighting to try to see her children.
Yeah.
She wants to see them.
Yeah.
Says she loves them.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, Jalissa gets it. Jalissa Turpin gets it. He's like, so the mom in Ohio is fighting to see her children. And she's already laughing. We were talking about this on the phone this morning. And, people have different reactions to things. I did look in the comments, and they wanted to know why she found it funny. She doesn't find it funny. She is basically saying, yeah, okay, she wants to connect with her children. She's been connected with them to the point their house was a rat trap. To the point every year a new baby was put somewhere on the floor to sleep and pee and poop. Who got the memberships? It's raining Mims. Hallelujah, it's raining Mims. Woo! Got all these memberships coming through this week. Looks like we're going to have to do a members live on Friday. Put a comment in chat about what you want to talk about or who you want to roast. Yeah, I don't blame her for just going, oh, okay.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But what do you think of that?
I think that is really dumb. And I do not think, I've seen people saying, oh, she's the victim or whatever. Okay, if she can be a victim, but that does not give her any slack whatsoever. I believe my mom was a victim, but that does not give her any, any excuse to do what she did to her kids.
Jalissa says even seeing her mother in court made her ill.
Out of the mouths of babes. I thought my mom was a victim. It gave her no right to do what she did. Not saying that I need to hear anyone's personal story, but has anyone in here ever been victimized? One way or another. We don't need to get graphic. We don't need that girl from Flint, Michigan calling in to tell us crazy shit today. She's probably listening, and I would still let her up. It doesn't give you a right to hurt other people.
I didn't ever know my mom, and she was always like in another room. I never like actually saw her or had a conversation. The only time I ever saw her face pretty much was when she was coming towards me to like abuse me or beat me up or like whatever, you know, something bad. I would go to court sometimes and I would see just like the back of her head, or even just talking about like the stuff like with my parents. And I would get physically sick where I would throw up because of the anxiety from it. And it really was like hard to heal when I was like, okay, let's start healing. But then I'm going to see her in like a week, you know, or I'm going to be in court talking about her in a week. Even that was hard.
So even just seeing the back of your mom's head?
It like was horrible for me. It was definitely not what I needed to heal.
Once freed, the Turpins had to learn everything about how to exist in the world, from how to eat food to something as simple as having a friend. It's something the Ohio children will have to face as well. Did you know that you could have a friend?
Like while I was in the house?
Yeah.
No. No. I don't know. I thought that people like having friends and like neighbors talking to each other and all that stuff, I thought that was like fake or just like stuff that's in the movies or something. I didn't know that like I could actually have a friend. I also didn't know that like school was even normal. I didn't know like where I would get a friend.
Betty, you don't have to turn your camera on. Just come up and have a convo. If you want, you can call me on the phone. I don't care. But no, you don't need to turn your camera on. Everyone got a big old eye full of me yesterday. It's a wonder they came back.
Friend.
But through therapy and God, Jalissa says she has made it to the other side. She just bought her own home and finds healing spending time with her siblings and dog. She believes there will be another side for the Ohio kids, too.
Like, it literally is, like, so hard to adjust. And, like, for these kids in Ohio, them coming out into this world when they've been isolated their whole life it's gonna be hard.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and down.
Gail Thornberry said, "You're not a mother unless you protect your children." For real. Annette just made it in. Good morning, Brooks and chat. I'm late. Hope I didn't miss too much. Now, we watched Joey dance, and we were talking about the Turpin children. Well, one of them that we know of is wanting to reach out to the Sider children in Ohio, and I think she's very brave. Now, waiting on Betty to grab the link. And no, you don't need to be on camera. Like I said, everybody got a big old eye full of me yesterday. I think that's enough camera for the week.
Seeing kids tortured in a 12 by 12 foot room in Ohio. It is a tragic house of horrors that we've been following since the parents were arrested. And
all right, people are coming unglued about this, about News Daddy saying the children were tortured. We just saw the court documents. Serious physical harm. Serious physical harm. Well, I'm not doing any physical harm to Yvonne today. You know why? Because it's her birthday! I love birthdays on here. I just do. Absolutely love them. I'm a pretty good gift giver, I think. I don't know. Has anybody in here have ever regifted something I've given them? I did get a crazy message from Connie Simonson one day that she said that she burnt all the shirts I gave her. I felt a sense of pride in that. It was very weird.
Has a striking similarity to the original House of Horrors, the Turpins, the 13 siblings who were tortured, starved, and imprisoned by their parents in California. The horrific abuse came to light on January 14th, 2018, when one
True Crime Beat, you're on the phone with me when I got a hold of Connie Simonson, and she's like, I burn all your shirts. She looks like the damn mom or whatever she was from Goonies. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, for what? I mean, you also burn up your dog in the backyard because you wouldn't give your dog any water and you left it on a chain because you were more worried about your DoorDash of Taco Bell. But hey, whatever. What to do?
one of their children.
Pearl True Crime Beat was like, how did you burn her shirts? I'm like, yeah, she obviously doesn't go outside. What'd she do? Put them on the stove?
Children escaped and was able to call 911. Well, now in a News Nation exclusive, one of the younger Turpin survivors, Jalissa, is speaking out. How has she healed? She's got advice for the Ohio kids and why she still cannot stand the sight of her own mother. It has been called the Ohio House of Horrors. There really are no words to describe what police say happened here. 16 children from 18 months to 18 years old, tortured by their parents, investigators say, and living in a 12 by 12 room.
As we sat and we talked about it, as a team kind of talked about it.
12 by 12 room. That's where all the children were. It doesn't mean they couldn't leave the room. I still want to know how everyone was using the bathroom. One bathroom, 20 people. Okay? Gotta be kidding me. I understand there's babies in the house. I'm just roughly speaking. Jules left a lot of skeletons for me, which means she's dying laughing. Y'all want to hear a fun fact? Jules got every prototype of every one of the t-shirts. Tamara said probably one pail. Probably so.
It really looked third world.
If anyone understands the horror, it's Jalissa Turpin.
It's kind of like, it's a little bit blurry, like my memory from things then.
Jalissa and her 12 siblings were in the original House of Horrors in California, beaten, strangled, and starved by their parents, David and Louise Turpin. They were chained up and only allowed to bathe once a year.
But to me, it was kind of like, almost like this prison where me and my siblings were prisoners, and then I knew that her and my dad were like the head of the prison.
Jalissa's sister Jordan was able to escape in 2018, and you can see her in the dark running from the house. She called 911 from a deactivated cell phone.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
I just ran away from home. I live in a family of 15. Okay? Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Hi, Jordan. Hi, what's going on?
My two little sisters right now chained up.
How old are they?
11 and 14.
And they're chained up?
Yes.
This is the moment sheriff's deputies arrived at the Turpin home. The moment Jalissa was saved.
How you guys doing?
Good.
We got a call.
Okay, what kind of call did you get?
Well, we got a call that there was a young female walking around saying that she came from a house over here.
She came from here?
That's what she said.
How you doing, sir? I'm doing okay.
Well, we're going to come in and check, okay?
For me, when I got out, it was a little bit intimidating, but I was so happy. Like, I was always on cloud 9 because it was like, honestly, just being able to see a tree, just being able to breathe in fresh air, that literally felt like heaven to me. I felt
I imagine so. after being chained up in the beds and sucking on orange peels.
Like, it can't really get more scary or worse than being in that house.
All right, let's just go ahead and detain the parents.
In Ohio, the rescued children are out of their prison and, like Jalissa, are now able to smell air and see trees. The scary part is their freedom may be short-lived. Their mother, Elizabeth Siders, is claiming she was a victim of her husband, despite some of her children not even learning how to speak or write. Jalissa's mom claimed the same thing. In Ohio, the mom, through the courts, is fighting to try to see her.
All right, here we go. I'm going to step in it now. If you are a victim, do you get a free pass? I'm asking you because I don't know. We're going to have a very interesting show tomorrow, a Throwback Thursday. And of course, you're going to get to be judge and jury on that one. If you have been victimized, is all accountability gone? Right now, we know the big buzz going on right now is the Lindsay Clancy trial. And sometimes, just for the hell of it, I will jump into the comments and call Angel P and get her going. Because she always says, I'm going to die on that hill. She didn't do nothing wrong. Because she obviously was in some sort of psychosis. Who could coerce a woman to abuse her own children or kill them? I don't know. It's never happened to me, so I can't say.
Her children.
Yeah.
You know, she wants to see them.
Yeah.
Says she loves them.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But what do you think of that?
I think that is really dumb. And I do not think, I've seen people saying, oh, she's the victim or whatever. Okay, if she can be a victim, but that does not give her any slack whatsoever. I believe my mom was a victim, but that does not give her any, any excuse to do what she did to her kids.
Jalissa says even seeing her mother in court made her ill.
I didn't ever know my mom. And she was always in another room. I never actually saw her or had a conversation. The only time I ever saw her face pretty much was when she was coming towards me to abuse me or beat me up or whatever, something bad. I would go to court sometimes and I would see just the back of her head or even just talking about the stuff with my parents. And I would get physically sick where I would throw up because of the anxiety from it. And it really was hard to heal when I was okay, let's start healing. But then I'm going to see her in a week, or I'm going to be in court talking about her in a week. That was hard.
So even just seeing the back of your mom's head.
There are some countries that arrest just based on suspicion. I don't know. I don't live there because America doesn't do that. You have to have a probable cause. And there are some countries where based on suspicion, you can be in jail for years without seeing a judge. Our friend Gaelic Girl has told me about that in Ireland. And there are some countries that you don't ever have to face your accuser. America's totally opposite. So if I accuse, let's say, Jules of stealing my 1986 Ghetto Blaster, I would have to see her in court. When it comes to children, though, I feel like they've been re-victimized, but I don't make the rules.
It was horrible for me. It was definitely not what I needed to heal.
Once freed, the Turpins had to learn everything about how to exist in the world, from how to eat food to something as simple as having a friend. It's something the Ohio children will have to face as well. Did you know that you could have a friend?
While I was in the house?
Yeah.
No. No. I don't know. I thought that people having friends and neighbors talking to each other and all that stuff, I thought that was fake or just like stuff that's in the movies or something. I didn't know that like I could actually have a friend. I also didn't know that like school was even normal. I didn't know like where I would.
There's nothing wrong with having friends. And this young lady was deprived of understanding that friendship is important. You don't have to understand where someone's coming from. You don't have to like where they're coming from. You don't. Friendship is important, though.
Get a friend.
But through therapy and God, Jalissa says she has made it to the other side. She just bought her own home and finds healing spending time with her siblings and dog. She believes there will be another side for the Ohio kids, too.
Like, it literally is like so hard to adjust. And like for these kids in Ohio, them coming out into this world when they've been isolated their whole life it's gonna be hard. Like, as much as I wish I could be like, it won't be that hard, it'll be easy. That's not the case. It's gonna be really hard.
And there is so much more to Jalissa's story coming up in part.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. So at first I was concerned about talking about the Turpin children, versus the Ohio children. Okay. But since they're speaking out and they want to help them, then I think it's great. September Angel actually went by that house in Ohio. She sent me pictures and everything. I've gotten videos from some of you. Amazing. All right, I got to take a pee break, so we're going to do music break with Joey.
About this time you and I be tangled up. Yeah, but that's all right. This fire's been keeping me warm enough. Holding on to you, girl, who needs that? I got a white knuckle grip on a whiskey glass. When it gets down to ice, I just fill it back up. On my own, girl, I might lose it, but I got buds to get me through.
Oh, Joey, you're something else. I just wonder if he's TikToking in the jail right now, the goofy thing. He's in jail for a probation violation. All right, so now let's get to what's coming down now. I believe there's more charges coming. I do. Because when I was reading the court documents and said serious physical harm to her own children, I think they're about to pile it on. And when it comes to real prosecutors, they don't give an F what the internet says. They don't care about the emails. They don't care about the phone calls. They don't care about my channel. They don't care about Court TV. They don't care about Law and Crime. They don't care about the Today Show. They don't. They care about the evidence, and they are piling it on.
I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Could have caused the county to go bankrupt. That's how poor Vinton County is. One inmate's medical bills could have sent the county into a financial tailspin. But right now, the county is responsible for the care of Elizabeth Siders, the mother of the 16 children, her husband, Gary Jr., and her mother-in-law, Christina Siders. In the booking video of Elizabeth from June 30th, she was noticeably the only Siders family member who wasn't handcuffed. Just looking at her, her body language appeared to be much different from her husband's and her in-laws. She cowered. Her shoulders were rounded, and she was practically hunched over. She seemed scared. This, coupled with how Elizabeth appeared in court and in her booking photo, and the fact that she had 18 children over about 18 years, made people wonder and question whether Elizabeth
Everyone has. Was Elizabeth a victim herself? I've put this up before. Elizabeth Siders.
Hello, Moto.
Hello, this is Brooks.
Hi, Brooks. It's Betty.
Oh, thank goodness. Are you enjoying this beautiful summer we're having?
No.
How come?
Because I had to move from Cincinnati to Cleveland, and I'm not liking it.
All right, we have our first call in. I still have my old phone and old phone number, and I get Wi-Fi calls. Look at me. I'm like Dolly Vision. Okay, so Betty, explain to me how it works in Ohio, because I know that you worked in the child protection system, and I know that you did a great job. How come they stopped looking for the children?
Well, it usually is a tip, and in our county, which was Hamilton County, we had a tip line called 2-for-1 Kids that runs continuously across the TV screens, and even the kids know the number, so sometimes they call on their parents.
Mm-hmm.
So usually it's a drive-by, or people are watching, saying something's not right, like the people at the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
They knew something wasn't right, and you can go into a store, you can look at children and see that they're not being fed. They're dirty. They stink. And it usually goes through a tip line, but from what I understand, it was Gary Siders showing himself.
He did. He did. He was playing with his Whopper Jr. at the Burger King when he was door dashing. So my question is, so when the kids stopped going to school in one county and they moved to another county, why did they stop looking for them?
If they were looking for them, they should have been looking in surrounding counties. Because that's pretty common, they'll run from CPS.
They did, and they did. And now they all say they're all incompetent. You can't be incompetent when you're running from the government.
No, they're not incompetent. They're just bad people. You know, I mean, most of the children that you take out of the home, their parents will say they love them, but if you don't feed your children, you don't love them, you know, and have them. I can't even imagine having 16 children in one room.
No.
I've never seen anything like that.
No. No, not at all. And what really just, and by the way, I'm not blaming the government in Ohio, because see, these people are slippery. And when I say these people, I don't just even mean the Siders family. I mean anybody that wants to get away with some wrongdoing.
Right.
They will figure out a way, and then it's supposedly society's fault. This one didn't turn it in. This one didn't do it. This one saw them at the dollar store and didn't do anything. They're very slippery.
Yeah, I don't know who. I know the dollar store people knew something was wrong. I mean,
let me ask you this, Betty. Let me ask you this, Betty. It's like super hot outside right now. It's 107 here today.
Oh.
So when I go to get my protein drinks, because you know I'm very healthy now, and I know the difference between someone that's had a very hard day outside working and someone that just has very, very bad hygiene. I'm assuming you know the difference too. There's a big difference between a sweaty smell and a stank smell.
Yeah, that's we call it dirty butt. You can smell it. I mean, it's the truth. It's just these poor kids. I don't even know what to say.
Well, then you hear the Turpin kids, I mean, and they showered once a year.
Yeah.
I mean, and they have teenage girls. They have, adult women, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
How could you menstruate and not shower every single day?
Well, I don't know how many of them were menstruating if they were truly starved to death. Sometimes menstruation will shut down.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm glad that you brought that up because Jennifer Turpin, she menstruated, basically like once every 2 years.
Yeah, she was in bad shape. Yeah, things start shutting down. They're not progressing physically.
Oh.
The Turpin kids are in a lot better shape than these little ones.
That's what I'm hearing.
County.
That's what I'm hearing too. Yeah, that's what
Those
I'm hearing
poor
too.
kids probably don't know how to talk.
Mm-mm.
But in Ohio, the children are always right. That's one good thing about Ohio. Their stories, if they can talk at all, they will be heard by CPS and they will be believed.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing they teach you is the children are right until proven otherwise.
True story. True story. And look at all their children. 2008, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2013,
Jeez.
2014, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2020, twins, 2022, twins, another set, twins, 2024, twins, 2025.
I've heard from other people on your show that have a medical background that say that sometimes when you have a lot of kids in a row, that you just get hyper fertile.
That's the reason they start spitting out twins.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard. I heard that from somebody on your show, and I was like, well, that makes perfect sense.
It's a true story.
Mm-hmm.
There was a family in our town, and they had 4 boys, and then she got pregnant again, had twins 2 years later because, her body wanted to reproduce.
Uh-huh. That's what it sounds like to me. But she could have gotten out and gotten her kids out of there. I know Vinton County's rural, but it's backed up to Jackson and Athens. There's people there. I know people from Jackson and Athens.
And here's my question. Okay, I live in a rural community. Okay, I do.
Uh-huh.
My family is from a rural community. They live on a section of land. Everyone knows how to sweep a floor. Everyone knows how to take a shower. Everyone knows how to cook a meal. Everyone understands that. So at what point do we stop saying that because someone lives out in the boondocks that they had no help?
They're lazy.
There you go. Thank you.
Just lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care. Elizabeth's probably just given up completely. Her body's probably a wreck and her mind is not there. She knows enough how to protect herself and cover her ass, and she knows that's wrong. You don't run unless you know you're wrong. If you know absolutely nothing and you are underdeveloped in some way, you don't know, you don't just run from town to town, house to house.
No. I think she was a victim when she was 13 and she had a baby and it was given to a family member. And I think right then there should have been some intervention.
Yeah.
But instead they take her ass to West Virginia, let her get married to Gary, and then you can see on the screen 2008, 2009, 2011, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, Gary Siders needs to go to prison.
I think they all do.
And I think they are going to.
I think so too. So
with this new information.
So what's the buzz in your state? What's everyone saying? I mean, who are they siding with? Are they saying we need more resources and this wouldn't have happened? Or are they saying no, put them in jail? Because we know they had resources and they cut off resources because CPS was after them about the kids not going to school. That's when we get to the possible cult, because Elizabeth did speak to her brother Jeremy and said she does not believe in public education. She believes all education should be done through the family.
Oh, Lord. Well, I don't have anything good to say about Elizabeth because, like I said, she is not what I would call, she's not schizophrenic. You know, she knows right from wrong, or they wouldn't be, like I said, they wouldn't be running around all over the Ohio. They've lived in Pike County, Jackson, you know, they're running the gamut there, and they're staying out. You know, because if they were in the city, this would have been reported a long time ago. They're going out in the country for a reason. She knows. She knows.
Well, and she could have, since she believes that education needs to be in the home, the first thing you teach your children is cleanup.
Right.
Cleanup. My kids used to watch Barney all the time, and we would sing, clean up, everybody everywhere, clean up, everybody do your share. We have a guy here in Oklahoma who has lost like 40 pounds. He walks around with a trash can on his back, picking up trash. And he did He did it for exercise. Don't ask me to do stuff like that. All right, so let's see what they're going to do with Elizabeth.
Was the victim of something nefarious. When asked by a local TV station whether Elizabeth Siders was a victim, her lawyer, Tommy Stolle, said Elizabeth didn't consider herself a victim, but he was still looking into that possibility. Here's what prosecutor William Archer said when asked whether Elizabeth was a victim at a press conference back on July 8th.
According to her attorney, she's not a victim. So we'll let him decide how he wants to address his representation of her.
So it doesn't appear at this point that William Archer's opinion has changed because he has formally objected to any modification of Elizabeth's bond as it stands right now. Archer wrote in a memorandum opposing the request for bail modification. This court should deny the bond modification for several reasons. First, the defendant is facing multiple serious pending charges.
LOL. Jenny, we were doing a Discord live and she was taking care of her granddaughter and she was singing a song to have her clean up her toys. And I don't think she realized she wasn't muted. And, you know, F you, Jenny, because I had that song stuck in my head forever.
F2s involving serious physical harm to her children, and thus is a flight risk and a potential risk to the victims in this case. Second, the defendant has filed a competency motion. Consequently, she is at personal risk until her competency is known. Third, the defendant has new serious felony charges that will be considered by the grand jury. Did you catch that last part? William Archer wrote that Elizabeth Siders has new serious felony charges that will be considered by the grand jury. That sounds like those charges are in addition to the.
You know, when I was in CrimeCon in Nashville, I'm going to go ahead and say that Anjanette Levy is not a very nice person. She's just not. She was very dismissive to me. And also, Nate Eaton, that people absolutely love, was super rude to True Crime Beat. And I about lost my shit. Also, Chris Hansen was not very nice. Some of these people need to know their role.
16 child endangering charges she already faces. Judge Rogers has already ordered a competency evaluation for Elizabeth Siders at the request of her lawyer. The evaluation will also include an evaluation to determine whether Elizabeth Siders has a mental illness that would make her not guilty by reason of insanity. Tommy Stolle had said previously that Elizabeth Siders wants to be released from jail so she can be reunited with her children, but that seems highly unlikely to happen anytime soon. Vinton County is actually seeking permanent custody of the children. Let me tell you, running a business is really endangering the children. But this is interesting to me that a prosecutor thinks she's a potential risk to their safety after.
Annette said she better go fix her stringy hair. She's got a lot of volume, though, before she starts being rude to my friend Brooks. I chased her ass down. I gave her a flyer about Michael Vaughn, and she said she would ask her producers if it was worth talking about. Now, my favorite moment at CrimeCon, well, I've got tons, is when True Crime Beat, we were talking to Nate Eaton, and he said the Michael Vaughn case was too far from him. And True Crime Beat goes, it's in your state, and you went to Hawaii. Loved the sass.
Her lawyer, Tommy Stolle, has said publicly, like, she wants to be reunited with her children. She loves her children. She's getting care packages at the jail, and she's asking, can I give this stuff to my kids? So it sounds to me like there's a lot here under the surface that we don't know about. When you read between the lines of this, what does it say to you?
Well, I think just by virtue of the fact that she is suggesting she wants reunited with the children, that should she be released, that she might make an effort to have contact with them. Obviously, the placements for the children would not be known, but given the whole very bizarre circumstances surrounding this case, they probably have a concern that she might try and find out where the
Oh my. Okay, so I just went to the poll. You're going to love this, Betty. And by the way, Anjanette Levy could be the nicest person on the planet and just didn't like me. Okay, my mother always told me, Brooks, you're an acquired taste. Have you hit the like? 95% said you bet. F to the no, 5%. Oh, I'm going to go ahead. I already know who said that. My goodness.
Children are. Obviously, a proposed ankle monitor. We all know ankle monitors fairly regularly get, at least I have had defendants cut them off their ankle and no longer subject to monitoring, which would fit into their argument regarding flight as well as attempt to contact the children.
There's also another little tidbit of information in here, very interesting and very important bit of information regarding Elizabeth Siders. The prosecutor says that she's already facing these 16 charges of child endangering, and these are F2s. And that includes causing, basically serious harm to a child. It's neglect, not providing a safe environment, causing serious physical harm, things of that nature. But he's saying when this goes to grand jury, he's going to ask the grand jurors to indict her on new charges. So that makes me think this is in addition to those 16 child endangering charges.
You're right, Home Skillet, because once it goes to the grand jury, because every attorney, they have separate attorneys that said no preliminary. We're going to the grand jury. And normally a grand jury is a slam dunk for the state. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, because you can't present a case from the defense at a grand jury. I think they're going to stack some charges on. I think that their defense attorneys don't give a fuck about them. Sorry about that language, Bet. Because what they're going to do is they're going to stack more charges on. Because this is coming up. The grand jury is coming up, and they are going to put more charges on. It's a fact-finding mission, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Now, Oklahoma very rarely uses a grand jury, and from what I've been reading, Ohio very rarely does too. It's an expensive and it's a very painstaking thing to do for the government because only one side can tell a story. What other reason could you think of, Betty, because you live there, to have a grand jury and skip a prelim? Hello?
Are you talking to me, Brooks?
Yes.
Oh, well, with the grand jury, you get the shortened version of the criminal charges. The grand jury in Ohio, which I've sat on, you do like 12 cases a day.
Right. It's so rare, though, in Ohio. And what I read, Wikipedia, by the way, is that Ohio very rarely uses them unless there's something that they can't prove themselves. And if the grand jury pushes it through, they can put it in front of an actual jury. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that there's more charges to be had. Ilyanka lives in Ohio, and she said, first time I've ever heard of Ohio using a grand jury. I didn't even know we had such a thing. It's so rare in Ohio.
I worked in Cincinnati, so that's a pretty good sized city. Their grand jury runs constantly.
Oh, okay.
When you get picked for jury duty, you can sign up for grand jury. Most people don't want to because you're stuck in a room 8 hours a day, for 2 weeks. So
no,
but
Oklahoma doesn't really use grand juries very often. Like they just rock and roll and go to trial. Okay, like Tennessee's a big grand jury state. Mississippi's a big grand jury state. I mean, they even put car accidents up or drownings in front of a grand jury. Why? I don't know. They're doing it for Nolan Wells. So I think we can agree this is unusual for Ohio to have a grand jury to talk about the 16 abused children unless there's more charges they want to stack up.
There's criminal charges. There's criminal charges, and the grand jury will decide, which I'm sure they'll decide to put it before a real trial. There's something there that is very criminal for them to go to the grand jury because I've never had a case go to the grand jury.
If the rumors are true, then it's going to make this grand jury decision and the new charges come out horrific.
They must be really bad.
All I'm doing is all I'm hearing is rumors that some of those children are not Elizabeth's and they could be from some of the older children, and that some of the children could be from old Pa that has dementia.
Yeah.
So I think they're getting down into SA. I hope not. I hope not. Because you're not going to have a grand jury over malnutrition. Just not going to do it.
No, they've done something. Malnutrition is bad enough, but which just burns me up because they said that the children had rickets, which is very serious. They're probably deformed. Their legs are probably bowed. I mean, that's a serious vitamin D deficiency. Rickets is.
Oh, fucking like webbed toes and shit. Yeah, you got to be kidding me. But you don't go to the grand jury for something you can already prove.
Right. you got to have the grand jury decide if it's bad enough to go to trial.
True.
$300,000 or at least a portion of that with a surety or something to that effect, and then wear a GPS monitor. As you stated earlier, those can routinely be manipulated, cut off, and honestly, you can cut off a GPS monitor and it might send an alert and somebody might not even see it for a day or two, correct?
Yes, that frequently will happen, at least here in Franklin County. The systems that they use, as soon as it is cut off, it sends an alert to the pretrial release program that then will contact victims and counsel and say that the GPS has been disrupted. But I don't know what kind of system they.
All right, True Crime Beat, one of my best friends. She is my FOIA queen. You know, she has gotten so much information in the Maddie Soto case and so many others. She is working on getting some FOIAs before Plunder gets them for this case. When I was speaking to her when she was on her Peloton bike the other day, I said, you know, to be quite honest, I'm a little afraid to see it. I don't think any FOIA is going to be granted until this grand jury. True Crime Beat, Plunder is so fast, LOL. I know. Like they wouldn't even take our money, True Crime Beat.
May have down there. But more than that, the GPS is not monitored in real time. It is kind of like a look back. If it gets cut off, or if she would attempt to contact the children or go somewhere she shouldn't go, if there's restrictions on her movement, they aren't seeing that until they look for it. And that's one of the difficulties that typically occurs. You can put them in a certain restrictive zone, but unless they're going to give her house arrest, so to speak, where they could put it within 100 yards of the location where she's going to be staying, and then it would be programmed to alert the probation department or pretrial release. But absent that kind of restriction, then can't monitor it in real time. And often somebody with a ankle monitor will be out committing new crimes, and it's good evidence to prosecute them for the new crimes, but you don't.
Stupid asses. No one cares about Gary Sr. in his wheelchair cutting off his ankle monitor and going out and malnutritioning people. We're not worried about that. Okay? I can tell you right now, Lindsay Clancy would walk before he would do anything. So they're just blowing smoke right now. What I want to know is, what is the grand jury actually for? Why was the preliminary hearing skipped? Because you don't go to a grand jury for something you can already prove. And the proof is already out there. I've read the court documents. I've read them all. And what happened to those children is horrific. So what exactly are they bringing to the grand jury that's not in the probable cause affidavit? All I can go on right now is speculation and rumors, and it has to do with the DNA tests, the children taken out of school, possible incest, and SA. And that is something that I hope doesn't happen. I hope that they're just doing it to just burn up some taxpayers' dollars in this one.
Going to face serious new charges, as he did with Elizabeth. So is it possible that she only faces those 16 child endangering charges? He obviously left that out of the opposition to her bail modification. What does that say to you?
Well, it says that mom and likely dad are the primary offenders here, and grandma and grandpa were in the house and maybe didn't take control, maybe didn't prevent them from causing the atmosphere that existed. But it sounds to me like they're more passive participants.
We all took 8th grade civics. We know why a grand jury is brought up in certain states. Some states use it for pure laziness, and they believe if you have a grand jury, then there's nothing you can mess with. And then you can present it in trial. We already went to a grand jury, and that puts it into another jury's mind. I don't agree with that. Anyhow, but in a state like Ohio that doesn't use it, it's because something's going on, and I'm going to go straight back to they've got DNA results. And more charges are coming. I read those court documents. Do not modify Elizabeth Bond. Don't do it. Because she caused serious physical harm to her children.
Participants than active participants.
And then we also have the competency issue that William Archer writes about, that basically she's at personal risk until her competency is known, because that's been raised by her counsel.
Right. And at least in terms of competency, they want to be assured that she's not a risk of harm to herself or to others. And that is something that would be looked into during the competency exam. And so
only in America would someone say, I'm incompetent, I didn't know what I was doing, but can you reduce my bail so I could be free out in society? What a ridiculous thing to say. I'm incompetent to stand trial. I need to have a competency hearing, but can you reduce my bail so I can walk around in society? Cindy Lou Who, love her so much. How fast do you think the trials will be, Brooks? What is this, 2026, 2028? Yeah, they'll be sitting in county till 2028. And I was so glad that the DA said that in Benton County. Aren't you, Betty?
Yes, I am.
You can't say you're fucking crazy and then say, modify my bond so I can get out.
Right.
If you're so crazy that you did these things to all your children, should you be out in society?
No.
No.
That doesn't show an example. What they did was wrong, and there's plenty of that in Ohio. Trust me. I mean, we had, well, it wasn't my case, it was my supervisor's case, where they had a stripper pole in the living room for the children to come down naked for their father.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
A stripper pole for the children to come down naked for their father.
Yes. When they went in,
okay,
there was a stripper pole. And he was having his daughters, because he was essaying them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That would explain the stripper pole. Okay, go ahead.
Can you imagine that?
No.
That's in Cincinnati. That happened in Cincinnati. It was a terrible case.
So what did you all do?
I didn't do anything because it was not my case.
Okay.
But we studied it. And I hate to say this, but they take the kids out and the kids would go back. Take the kids out, the kids would go back. I mean, as far as I know, I don't know if anybody did any prison time in that household.
Well, and that's a sad fact for CPS workers, whatever, you know, I don't exactly know what you guys like to be called. Sometimes you all are allowed to know the outcome. Anybody wants to catch up on the case, the playlist is posted. You can copy and paste that.
Yeah, you go to court. If you're the CPS worker, I was never a supervisor, but you're supervisor and you go to juvenile court.
Okay.
All the way through the case. And all you do is shake your head.
Mm-hmm.
You just shake your head. You did your part, but you know, that weighs on your conscience.
Well, I would think so. Anytime you're dealing with another human being, I don't care. I don't care if you're a piss catching nurse. You're going to feel somewhat responsible for the person you're around. And if anybody wants to catch up on the case, there is the playlist. Please leave me a comment.
So at this point, I can see why they are saying, look, let's look at this. There's competency issues. There's flight risk. There's a potential harm to the victims. All this together, let's just keep her in jail until we see where we are. I'm interested to see how soon they may take it to the grand jury, because they typically have 60 days from the time it's bound over to the grand jury, and they've already consumed probably a month, maybe. In any event, they need to start getting the case together to present to the grand jury. And at that point, we will see what additional charges that have been waved around are included in the indictment.
Ron, you read my mind, because that was going to be my next question to you. When do you see this case going to grand jury? Because it's been quite a bit of time now. Is this a case where maybe they only want to go once? They don't want to have to go back to the grand jury, on a continuing basis?
I think that's exactly right. I think they want to have what they are going to proceed on included in the single indictment against all defendants, and include all counts against each individual defendant. And they have a clock, at least under the rules of superintendents, of 60 days from the time a case is bound over from municipal court to common pleas court. And in this case, they're probably close to 40 anyhow, or more. And so at this point in time, I would think that it should go to the grand jury probably before Labor Day.
And it will. Annette said, do comments help you, Brooks? Yeah, that's why I know what you guys are thinking about different cases, what you think about the show. Yeah, absolutely, they help me. Well, I think this has been a great show. I'm going to stay on my hill right now and say that they're going to the grand jury, not because of a dirty house or malnutrition. There is something else going on to where they have got to go to the grand jury and they have to prove it to a grand jury. And then guess what? More charges will come. My goodness. And if you're catching this on the replay, because I know some of you are watching in between the Lindsay Clancy trial when they're on break and stuff like that, please leave me a comment and tell me what you think. How do you think this case is going? And if anybody wants to know, True Crime Beat and I, we have a major announcement coming. Potential spam. Hold on. Hello? 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 No one's there. Potential spam, and nobody answered. I've got a joke when people call me potential spam. I'll tell you guys about it on Friday. So we have a huge member show on Friday. True Crime Beat and I are going to make our announcement, and we have a lot of stuff going on. So get ready, because tomorrow we have 2 shows. We have a Lindsay Clancy trial update recap, and then I'm doing a throwback Thursday about the burning bed Francine Hughes. So y'all get ready. Buckle up. It's going to be a busy and very hot week. Love you.